In the top right-hand side, in the round of 32, and what a cool matchup in the round of 32. It's going to be our blue Terran in the top right-hand side, HeroMarine, taking on the bottom left pink Protoss player herO. So obviously this is round of 32 because herO just doesn't have ESL points, right? He recently came back from the military, and so herO is basically just seed, like, I think he's seed 29, which means round of 32, he's going to meet one of the top dogs. Which makes, just like I say, as I was talking about earlier, this path of the bracket that much more exciting, because it just means we get one of the, a really cool match, maybe a round early than we usually would. So it's definitely been one of the things that I've been basically aiming for in this matchup. So hopefully we get something cool out of it. A bit of TvP action starting up on 2,000 atmospheres. So a couple things to note going into this series is the ESL Open Cup Europe, which means this is played on the European server. So right away that means advantage to HeroMarine, right? So that is something already to kind of think about that. So that's going to help HeroMarine. The offset to that is you could argue maybe that herO has been playing a couple of these European Cups, so it's not like he's a complete stranger to the ping, and he's been doing alright in these as well on the European server, to the point where, yes, obviously ping's going to affect him, but I wouldn't say it's like, oh my god, he clearly can't play, because if he just clearly can't play at all, he just wouldn't sign up, he wouldn't see the point in it, right? And then you kind of look at this from the fact of, like, okay, well, herO just returned from the military, but the one matchup that I feel like herO looked really good in lately has been PvT. Wins against Innovation, wins against Bjorn. Like, he's had some genuinely good results in PvT for having just returned from the military. So, yeah. I mean, a couple of things there in my eyes that may make this a very interesting series just in general. We're going to go Stargate before we expand from herO as well, so really racking out that tech as fast as he can. But yeah, no, this is definitely a little bit different to usual just in the round of 32, right? So yeah, really cool matchup. I think HeroMarine should be the favorite, but I'm hoping herO can put up a good fight and show something cool. One of the things that HeroMarine has in his TvP, though, is he plays this kind of very aggressive style, right? Like, he hits those 2 base timings like no one else hits those 2 base timings. And if you're just a little bit off in your early game, if your micro is not quite there, there's one of those things where just that slight advantage that might give HeroMarine can just be the offset that he needs. Just punch through punch through and get a victory out of it. So something like, I feel like if we get past like the 7-8 minute marker, we might see like some really cool games. And just wondering if herO can survive past that 7-8 minute mark. He sets up a pylon over here. Some reinforcing warp-ins, as we do, of course, have the first Oracle of the game coming out onto the map a little bit sooner than usual because of the Stargate pre-Nexus. So a little bit more aggressive, a little bit funkier in that regard for sure. The Oracle is going to make its way to the upper right now. I'm kind of moving through, and a couple of depots will raise. Just going to block the Adept from getting in. It's going to commit, though, because he knows he's got the Oracle showing up to help out. If Marines try and fight, or if Marines just pop out in general, okay, well, now the Marines are dead. Cyclone ain't ready yet. This Oracle needs to target fire a little better than he has been, but now gets 4 workers. This is really good for first Oracle of the game. A little bit of a shame that now you're perhaps going to lose it to the Cyclone. Nope, he gets it out. 4 workers is really good. Against an Oracle that also kills some Marines, that's the kind of damage where you're already putting yourself just a little bit ahead early. And this was all because he went Stargate before he expanded, right? Because this Cyclone, had it been, had that Oracle arrived 10 seconds later, none of this is an issue. But that Stargate just being that little bit quicker made the world of difference here. So yes, you slow down your Nexus to do this. He's down by 6 workers. He has got damage to be done right now. Will he be able to get that damage done? He's warping in units, he's getting blink. I mean, he's essentially on a 1 base all-in with a natural expansion. The only thing I'm super worried about right now, I suppose, is the possibility of just something from HeroMarine seeing that the natural has no probes on it. Because that is an instant giveaway that something is just very off right now. As probe is going to see those 2 Cyclones, and herO will take that as a chance to start moving forward. He wants to pull these Cyclones back home ASAP, I think, because if the Cyclones go across the map, they're going to get a really good read on everything that's, well, basically not there, although Right now, you can see HeroMarine. He's checking for third base. He has not once stopped to think that this might be something focused around. I know, like I said, there's 2 bases, but he's never even stopped to think, like, oh, maybe this is like a 1-base eco. He never actually even confirms that the nexus on the natural went down. So he actually doesn't even know that this is 2 bases or not. So yeah, HeroMarine is playing a little blind, and that's the dead Oracle. So now you don't have blinks up into the main. That's a massive loss for Hero, because all of a sudden you can't blink in the main. HeroMarine now only has to defend on the front, and that's obviously a very different situation to before. So you get rid of that bunker, but you blinked in to kill it, and now that means that these Cyclones are getting lock-ons that you can't get out of as easily as you maybe wanted to. And there's just so much SCV buffer. I mean, HeroMarine is just going to walk away with this, and it doesn't even look like too difficult of a hold. And that makes me think that this build of Hero just isn't very good. Because it feels like so much of this game went right for Hero. Can he break through now as HeroMarine gets a little bit over-aggressive? We blink in, we'll get the 2 Cyclones. Now the Marauders go down. Okay, well, this is Hero. A couple of reinforcements and just getting rid of the big tech units. Oh my god, there is nothing here at all. Wow! This was going horribly. Can I just very quickly rewind before the next game begins, maybe? This was going so bad from, like, at this point now, I'm like, you're down 20 workers, buddy. It doesn't feel like you can break through, but this bunker having gone down and not being replaced completely opens up just the next fight. I got to get out of this game because we got to go into the next one, but that was actually crazy. I did not expect from the position. I was at the point of actually just talking bad about Hero's build, because I was like, it's not working. You've had such a good start. That was the words about to come out of my mouth. You had such a good start and you can't make it work. When is it going to work? Right then, apparently. Game number 2 is down a map in the top left-hand side. Is going to be our Blue Terran player, HeroMarine. And that means up a game in the bottom right is going to be Hero. I mean, the build should have worked, right? Like, it was meant to work in this situation. HeroMarine didn't really know what was coming. He lost that bunker at the front. Hero did damage with the Oracle to start. That's kind of, honestly, just kind of crazy. I was genuinely, like, personally, I just genuinely didn't think that, I was just, like, looking at the work account. That was obviously getting out of hand. The army supplies seemed fine for HeroMarine. That was a, I'm genuinely shocked looking back. I'm just watching it back on the delay, which is why I'm talking about it again. I genuinely stand by what I said at that moment. I still didn't like it at all. I did not like it in the slightest. Like, looking back, when the moment where I was, you know, shit talking the build, I really didn't like where it was at all. No, that was genuinely kind of crazy. Oh, happy to be wrong. Happy to be wrong when things like that happen. As DCI probe gonna come in and nibble up the SCV a little bit. I'm excited now as to see what the next step of this is gonna be. Wondering how he play this game now as HeroMarine. He obviously goes factory before he expands, so he'll have a bit more pressure himself early game. He does kill this probe, which was, you know, all things considered, able to say, right, well, I didn't see you expanding, which is already a bit of a question mark, so Hero should be at least somewhat questioning a little bit of what's going on right now. HeroMarine didn't scout well enough to know you should play defensively. No, he had no idea. He didn't know that there was no probes in the natural. He never, like I said, he never saw the natural expansion, so he didn't even know if he was being one base or linked. Like, you know, Hero could have been on... The natural expansion was obviously a fake, but it was a fake that worked against him because it was 400 minerals that just HeroMarine never scouted. So it's one of those things where you're meant to see the natural and be like, okay, he's on 2 bases, right? But then Hero cuts and plays basically a 1-base economy game. But in this situation, it actually was just a deficit to Hero because he built 400 minerals and HeroMarine never saw it, so he never played any differently based on what he would have seen or what he wouldn't have seen, you know? So it was, that was kind of maybe the one part of it that went badly for Hero. There was obviously still the fact that HeroMarine was in the docks. I mean, that part of it was still great as, yeah, starport out over here. So it looks like we're going to crank out some Hellions and really go for a little bit of an early drop, try and get some damage done. How come the Koreans play the European Cup now? Just because the prize money increased, right? Top 8 get prize money. So a few of them just say, well, we're probably not going to win the European Cup, having to play across server and stuff, but, you know, if we can just get to top 8 and make some money, why the hell not? You know, they believe they can get to top 8 despite the ping deficit and so on, so that's why they've started to sign up. Whereas before you had to make, okay, for a while it was like top 4. Obviously top 8 is just something they feel is very playable and very doable. As the Phoenix did not waste any lifts there just yet. Third Phoenix showing up, we can actually just lift all these Hellions up one at a time. I was going to say maybe just lift them all. 4 workers down, Hellions probe still stacked. 6 workers do die. It's not bad for HeroMarine. Look at the worker count overall here, and it is dead even. As Hero will maybe be able to put some counter pressure on with these Phoenix, but they're low on energy, so they won't have many kind of harassing lifts to go for at the moment. Yeah, but I guess maybe if that question was more of a why are they allowed to, these are just server cups, right? Like, these cups are open to anybody from anywhere in the world. You just have to play on a specific server, and the time of the cup obviously favors, you know, a certain region. This is like in the European evening, right? So, you know, for the Korean players, this starts at 1 AM, so it's not exactly the best time to play. But, yeah, like I say, it's one of those things, basically. Just, there's some money to be won, and they feel like 3 hours or so, just kind of, you know, a lot of them probably feel that almost guaranteed, like a $50. So they're like, well, I'm guaranteed 50, and hey, if I play super well, maybe I get a bit more. You know, and the ESL points, maybe they feel like they can grab. Maybe they feel like that's worth it too. That's got to be it though, because nobody, I think Solar played in one of these when it was like a $400 prize pool. Now it's $800 and stretches to top 8 payout. So it's definitely been the change in prize money and the payout down to top 8, which has encouraged them to play. So yeah. Anyways, these few adepts moving back home. The Phoenix still going to stay on the map for a little while. I was just going to be seeing our rack setting up. A couple extra Marines are still on the way out. All of that just building through. Right, just reactors coming down across the borders. Cyclones do grab a lock onto those Phoenix for just a little bit, helping to push that away. So this Phoenix going to get pushed out of there, and just going to be seeing combat shields now starting as well here from HeroMarine's getting that up and running. Reactors down the starport, so we'll get more medevacts coming through and really try and time out this stim combat +1 push. I guess more just stim and +1 at the moment. Combat shields is quite a way out at the moment. Defensively speaking, we've got a lot of zealots, and charge is about to be done. Triple Cyclone, I mean, Cyclones just don't really aid much at this stage of the game. You can get some of these lock-ons onto Phoenix, maybe. The thing is, the Phoenix don't want to lift the Cyclones to get rid of lock-ons, because lifting Cyclones, they're very tanky, so then the Phoenix aren't really doing like a ton of damage and killing a bunch of units. They're actually going to chase really far out. He lifts one Cyclone. He's going to let the Zealots do a lot of the work here initially. You see what I mean about being very tanky, right? And these Phoenix just continue to lift units. These units that drop back down, he relifts the Cyclone, the Marines get killed off, and HeroMarine just gets chased out of here. I mean, this was just a swarm of low-tech units, basically, from Hero, right? It was basically just Zealots, and oh no, double mine! That was actually a very good split, all things considered. Hero can't go up that ramp, but I don't know why he thinks he can. You know, chasing your opponent all the way back on Ramanda's side, it's very rare. You're going to still have enough going without a reinforcing warp in, which of course he does not have. He doesn't have a warp prism or anything, so no way to set that up as he loses a Phoenix and a couple of control errors here from Hero. Just hurting him slightly at the moment. Just going to be seeing that Robo Bay is building in the main base. Again, that rolling again, +2 armor, and the Blink Chrono boosting here as well. Do just settle ourselves down across these 3 bases. Typically, a Protoss is the first to expand further. I wonder if that'll be the case here. Because Hero's going to have to play up to like 3 Colossi or so before he has any sort of real power in his army. So until then, he might just have to stay on 3 bases and just sort of play just the defense of those 3 bases, rather than going up to 4 bases and stretching himself out too thinly before he actually has, say, Colossi coming up. You know, he started a Disruptor there, cancelled it, Chrono boosted the Robo, and then he does start the Disruptor again. So it will be Disruptors that we see coming out of this Robo Bay. And no 4th base here just yet, which is the first thing that HeroMarine checks coming around that right side. Backs it up straight through the center again. So just going to go straight back the way he came from. That's one Phoenix just going to find a nice little Widow Mine's just going to deny that. And yeah, take the 4th base. At least try to take it, right? If HeroMarine's backing away and you know that, it's not a bad time to take this, because if he's backing off, what's going to make him turn around and be like, oh yeah, now there's, you know, a chance for me to get something done. And now, obviously, Hero is in a bit of a better position, too, and you can see what he was doing. So he actually built 1 Disruptor just for something, a little bit of added safety, essentially. He respected that his army was really not a fighting army, so he rushed a Disruptor to help him dissuade HeroMarine from committing to a fight if HeroMarine had gotten more aggressive. And now he's going to go into what is the longer build in Colossus production that won't be as good until you get extended thermal lance up, etc. So basically, Hero just goes for a Disruptor that overall delays the Colossus, but provides you a little bit of a safety net just that little bit sooner in the game. Of course, HeroMarine just plays into the Ghosts initially, as he's across the 3 bases. His economy is good. 66 workers, in fact, is perfect economy for these 3 bases, and the gas is on all of them. And HeroMarine just starts to move down onto the bottom side of the map. Now, there's a good amount of stacked defense here, good amount of batteries, and even have a choice of which one you overcharge. I imagine even this one might be a great overcharge. Just looking at it, just one that's far back. You're just typically going to stand here to defend for the most part. Depends where the fight happens, if you let the Terran run up or if you run forward. Because obviously if the Terran's back over here, this overcharge is perfectly safe as well. The main goal is just to overcharge a battery that isn't going to be instantly A-clicked down. So depending on where the Terran army is, you've got a variety of battery options. I suppose it's just the general analysis of that setup if a fight happens down there. And grab 1 probe off to the right side. Again, Colossi here, so you've got that bit of splash damage now at least alongside the Disruptor shot. As it's the Ghost going to come forward. Pretty decent start in EMP. Only 1 battery available over here. I was going to say, I feel like that Disruptor had a minefield over here, quite literally. A gold mine it could have connected on. If it just went for all of those Widow Mines, it could have done so much. I mean, that would have been like 4 Widow Mines just disappearing from the game right away. Now a few Zealots kind of bleed into that army. The problem is it's just 2 Colossi. Now Super Battery fades away. Now we're going to have this larger commitment to a fight. Disruptor shot's available, but it's not firing, so Hero's getting a little bit caught up trying to use the Phoenix. That Disruptor just still A-clicked forward. He will chase this army away. I still feel like more than anything, he just missed a larger opportunity denying the Widow Mines initially, and imagine how much of the splash he could have maybe denied on some of his initial Zealots. The Phoenix are taking the brunt force of the damage now as well as he chases across the map. Warp Prism warping in as we go. Hero is not letting HeroMarine get back home safely in the slightest. You've still got these Phoenix to deal with the Vikings here, so the Colossi actually have a good amount of time to deal damage before they will go down. And is HeroMarine in some serious trouble right now? He very well may be. Hero is not letting up the pressure in the slightest. He blinks forward. Is that a little bit too much? The Disruptor shot flies. He pulled it back, maybe expecting to dodge backwards. He will just sit and say, I'll kill your 4th base. That's good enough for me. There are still mines over here, by the way, that have not been dealt with. As Hero is going to go and play towards this 3rd base now. The new Disruptor that just fired goes down in an instant. It didn't really connect on anything either. Don't like this fight for Hero. Half of his units are hitting the command center. Half of them are hitting the army. This was a horrible fight for Hero. He blinks his Stalkers in as well. What's he trying to kill in particular? Just anything he can find. Disruptor shot gets killed as the Vikings do get the kill on the Disruptor, but HeroMarine's lost too much. Too many SCVs going down. That's GG. And Hero is going to be the better of the 2 heroes today. And that's a 2-0 to come through and Romanticide move to the round of 16. My goodness, friends. That is a result